Willkommen Leute. Today we'll be doing this in German. So, heute wir singen zankade. But other than that, that will be standard Q&As session where you can ask me questions live and I'll be live answering them. Anything about moving to the Czech Republic, so different types of visas, residence permits, from long-term visas to permanent residence permit, citizenship, through finding accommodation in the Czech Republic, to health insurance, to anything else you might be interested in. And I'll do my best to give you the best answer. Usually the first questions get the biggest attention or the most attention, and I'll reply in more details, because then when people start asking questions, there is less time for each question or answer. So ask the questions now while we are still like six people here. So guys, drop your question into the chat and we'll kickstart this. Otherwise, I will be just staring, talking nonsense, and then I'll finish the live stream and I'll go home. There's no questions so far. Okay, so 7 people just love watching me like pretending to dance. I might show you my biceps as well, or one bicep, I don't know. I started seeing this on the social media that people started calling this not a biceps but bicep, because then you have 2 biceps. I find it weird. So guys, please, any questions regarding immigration to the Czech Republic, living here, getting health insurance, starting a business, finding accommodation? Mohammed Imran, bro, how I get Czech employment work visa? Where are you from and where do you live? That's my first question, and then I'll provide my answer. Aros Ahmed, hi Aros, thank you for joining. Richard Bueno or Richard Bueno, what's up? All good, what's up with you? Kumar, dependent with free labor access permission can start the work and can sponsor partner on who person is dependent. Okay, that's a bit complicated situation. So you are on the family reunification and then you would like someone else to join you under family reunification. That's obviously not possible, but you can switch to an employee card. And once you get an employee card, then the person who already has the employee card can switch to family reunification. That's technically possible, but you cannot like link family reunifications under family reunification. You need to change the purpose of your stay if you want to do that. Gaming buddy, I'm in UK, want to work in Czech. Okay. Okay. Is there a question, gaming buddy? If there is, please let me know. Otherwise, I will start talking about how you can do that, but that might not be what you want to hear. Flame, please adopt me. Come here, and I'll adopt you. Nope, I don't like kids. Usanas Angelique, sorry I'm mispronouncing for sure. Good evening, sir. First of all, thank you for all your answers. My pleasure. Hopefully you'll also ask a question. Charles, gay, nice to meet you. It's okay if you're gay, so no problem, no hate on this live stream, so good for you. Mohammed Imran, I'm Indian now, work in Kuwait. Those are not questions, guys, those are statements. Ask me a question. That's how it works. You ask questions, I answer. Fort Mexican, hello sir, hello. Nicole Bilikova, hi Nicole, thank you for joining. Khalif Soja, hello sir. If I have Czech 3-month seasonal job, where can I apply for visa from VFS or Czech embassy in Qatar? I'm not sure how it is in Qatar, but it's either or. Usually in the country where there is VFS, then you have to apply through VFS for short-term visas. Where there is no VFS, you apply through the Czech embassy. But it depends on the country, and I honestly don't know from top of my head about Qatar. Arun Rautan asking on behalf of my friend. That's always not true. Like asking for a friend. Okay. Anyway, asking on behalf of my friend that he has dependent partnership visa and he don't want to continue with it, but he want to change his visa type as an employee card. Will it be possible? It is possible if they break up. If they break up, he reports or she reports it. I don't know, and he reports it to the Ministry of the Interior. Then the Ministry of the Interior will cancel his partnership visa and give him 60 days to leave the Czech Republic or submit some other application, which could potentially be the employee card. If they are still together and if they still live together, they just don't want to be dependent on each other, that's not really possible. Ali Aftab, hi Jan, my long-term residence permit would be valid for 2 + 2 years. So after to continue my stay in Czech, do I have to find some sponsored job to legal my stay or any other way? I'm not sure what you mean exactly, that your long-term residence permit would be valid for 2 + 2 years. What does it mean? Like that you got a contract for 2 years and they promised 2 years extension and then you have no job, or what's the situation? Mohammed Imran Masalah Bispes. I'm not sure if it's like if you made a typo and you mean my biceps, or if I'm just being ignorant right now and it actually means something. Let me know. Ford Mexican, I'm from India. That's unexpected. Ford Mexican being from India. Okay. Living in Zagreb. Okay. Not too complicated or anything. Working as a food delivery driver. I want a job in Czech Republic as a food delivery driver. How can I get? Kind of very difficult. If you've been in Croatia for more than 2 years, then it's potentially doable that you could apply through the Czech embassy in Dresden. But I cannot really imagine a business visa being approved based on like being a delivery driver. So I cannot really see it. I'm not saying it's not possible. Technically it is possible. But from how I know the Ministry of the Interior, I cannot imagine that they would approve that. But you can try for sure if you've been living in Croatia for more than 2 years. If you haven't, then you would need to apply in India, and that's basically impossible. Or not impossible, but there are 8 spots for a business visa a year. Gaming Buddy, which is Czech job with sponsorship websites. If you're a British citizen, you actually have free access to the Czech labor market, which means that you don't need kind of like a sponsorship, let's say. They don't need to really, the company hiring you does not need to do much for you. They basically just have to give you an employment contract and then wait for you for 6 months before you get approved. But other than that, you can basically apply for any jobs because you have free access to the Czech labor market. But might be best to go through the website of the labor office, because that's where companies that are aware of the immigration processes advertise. So if you have a chance, that would be the website of vacancies through labor office of the Czech Republic. Hey, hi Jan. I know, of course, that Czechoslovakia split over 30 years ago, but I have a Czech PR. That's kind of intriguing now. I have a Czech PR as a non-EU citizen. Do I have free access to the job market in Slovakia? Maybe there's some agreement. If there is an agreement, I'm not aware of it. If you have a PR with the, how's it called? It's late, and the status of the long-term resident of the EU. So if you have permanent residency with the status of the long-term resident of the EU, you technically can work in other EU countries, but you still need to follow the local rules. So if Slovakia wants you to have a local residence permit based on the Czech permanent one, or if they want you to get registered somewhere like on top of something you have to abide the rules. So, but it's more like a question for the Slovakian side, uh, because the rule would be coming from that side. But I'm not aware of any agreement like that, which doesn't mean that there is not any. I just have never been asked this question before, so I've never investigated, and it never crossed my way. Kumar, if person has PR in Czech and holding driver's license category B, how can the person start the right as a taxi driver? If you want to do it, if you want to work as a freelancer, which is usually the situation for taxi drivers or delivery guys, um, for you need to get a trade license. That's the first step. And then for the trade license, you have two trades. If you want to be a taxi driver, which means that you want to transport people, you need to get the yellow card, the taxi driver card from the magistrat, from the town hall. If you just wanted to do food delivery, that you would not be transporting people, you don't need that, and you would just set up the trade license. Angelique, now I don't have any questions today because I'm still waiting my appointment for visa interview. Okay, thank you for being here anyway. Christina Samkova, how are you? I'm good, Christina, how are you? Your name sounds Czech, so are you Czech, Christina? And if so, why are you watching this live stream? Not that I am saying not to, it just interests me, like if you have a partner who's non-Czech citizen, or if you're just interested in this topic. Gaming Buddy. What are the Czech jobs with sponsorship website? I already answered that a couple minutes ago. Indian citizen, okay, then it's complicated. Again, if you've been in, as an Indian citizen, if you've been in the UK for more than 2 years, you could potentially submit your visa application, like Czech visa application there. But if you haven't been there for 2 years, then you would have to apply in India, and that's even more impossible than the business visa in India. Arun Rautan, another question, how can we ask the MOI for rodné číslo? We usually, like, you should be assigned one with your residence permit. So usually it appears at some point in your residence card. If it doesn't, and you, for example, ask or call them and they tell you that it's not been issued yet, we usually just send a letter with all the details they need, because for rodné číslo they need some specific information, like your mother's maiden name, for example. And if you've missed that, for example, in all your previous visa application forms, you will not be assigned rodné číslo, because they don't have this information that they need. So we usually write a letter, list all the information they might need, and request it this way. Just a kind of simple letter, no application form or anything like that. Kalif Soja, do I need to translate all my documents into Czech, such as my bank statement and travel insurance? I mean, regarding 3-month seasonal. Actually, I don't know, because we don't do short-term visas much. And we don't do seasonal at all, because in my opinion that's the biggest scam there is. I say it every time, so I'm repeating it again. So I actually don't know. For long-term visas you must have everything translated into Czech. For short-term visas I've heard cases where it's not needed, but it kind of depends at the embassy and other circumstances. So ideally ask them directly. Abir Maria, please, I want to ask about the embassy interview for study. Means if they ask me about who fund my expenses, should I say my dad, or I'll say the money from blocked money in my bank account? Well, you need to submit, when you're submitting your student visa or student residence permit application, you need to submit a bank letter showing that you have enough money in your bank account, and you need to have a debit card linked to that. So I would say that you will be using whatever account you're using. If it's your dad's, it's kind of more complicated. If it's yours, that's easiest. Tips and tricks. I tried Czech Republic long-term visa slot last 6 months, but still did not get visa slot. Any reason? A lot of reasons. It depends on where are you from and what are you trying to apply for, what type of long-term visa, and that might help me answer it in more details. But yeah, that's a pretty common situation in some countries. Ali Aftab, yes, exactly. 2 years long-term residence permit and then extension of 2 more years, which make total of 4 years. So to lead my way to PR, which would require 1 more year, should I look for a sponsor job afterwards? And what kind of residence permit you'll be having? If you're having an employee card, then you can just change your employer and continue for another 2 years with a new employer. If you got married to a Czech lady, you could switch to the temporary residence permit. Or if you start studying, you can switch to a student residence permit, but that would count as half. So you would need another 2 years instead of 1 year. So there are plenty of options, but it depends on what's your scientific research. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then, I think for researchers, it works the same way as for students. So you could potentially get, now let me see, I think you could get the job seeker residence permit. Maybe I'm like tripping right now, but I think you could get that. So you could potentially switch, like get the job seeker residence permit and then switch either to an employee card or to a business residence permit. But either way, maybe I'm just tripping now, but either way, you can always switch to an employee card if you find a local job after your research program ends, and then you can switch to an employee card. So that would be the easiest, or switch into a temporary residency with like marrying or dating someone from the EU would also work. Giobo MB21, hello, hi, thank you for joining. Hey, I have a Czech PR with EU resident status. My passport will expire in 5 months. I know I must inform the immigration authority, but am I required to renew it even if I won't travel anywhere? Yes, because that's the PR, permanent residency, is not your travel document. It's not like your international ID. So you always need to have your like local country's ID. So you definitely need to get a new passport. Now, even maybe you're not planning on traveling, but imagine something happens, you really need to go back to wherever, and that would be a problem. Plus, you always need to report the new passport to the ministry anyway, so definitely get a new passport. If it's like a bit late, probably nothing will happen, but you definitely need to get a new one and report it. Ali Aftab would be doing PhD plus research worker. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Enjoy. And research something super important, please. Said Akramuddin, hi, my friend's original course duration was 2 years, but he failed and completed his course in 4 years. While calculating for PR, how many years we have to consider? It depends what he had, like in terms of residence permit type. If it was a student visa or student residence permit, then 4 years count as 2, if it was a student one. Pratikir, sir, there is one local Czech agency who is the employer in my work permit, but I'm supposed to work in other company, which is automotive company. Is it good? Good is like a very general term. It's possible. It might be legal as well. It might work for your first application, for example, for a first employee card. But question is if you will ever get the employee card. Our second question is if you already have an employee card, you would be switching to an agency now. That's not possible. So it can be fine, but it also might not be fine depending on what's your situation, and that I don't know now. Mehrdat Manuchehri. I am massively mispronouncing, sorry, but that's how it is. Hello, I have PR in Czech. My dad is alone in home country. Am I able to bring him here and get him a residence permit? Non-EU country. Yes, technically yes. If you have only your father, if he's solitary, then yes. And then there is a age limit. I believe it's 60. If he's above that age limit, then you can bring him with no questions asked, basically. If he's younger than that, then you would need to have a reason to bring him here, meaning usually that his health got bad and he cannot take care of himself or something like that. Tips and tricks. I'm from India. I tried Czech Republic long-term visa slot last 6 months for work visa and residency and got vacancy number, but didn't get visa slot. Well, yeah, you got fucked. You got fucked, man. Sorry to tell you that, but that's how it is. First of all, if you get an employment contract, you hardly apply for a long-term visa. You would be applying for an employee card, and you will not apply for an employee card because there are no available slots. There are zero if your employer is not enrolled into some of the programs, the governmental programs. So you can keep applying for another 3 years, but you will most likely never get an appointment. If you're trying to apply for a seasonal work visa, for example, for 9 months, that's technically possible, but the slots are limited. So you might also be trying for a couple more months, but then the employment contract expires. So even if you got the appointment, it makes no sense to go there because all the documents will be too old. So either way, it's not good for you. He's 67, yeah, so that should be completely fine. Usually or often people want to bring here one of the parents or both of the parents if they're both still alive and together, and that's not really possible. If you have both parents alive or they're alive and married together, then it's not really possible to get them here. The local Czech agency shouldn't be the reason of rejection of visa. If yes, please help me. How should I answer this question on involving this agency? That it should not really be a problem for you. First of all, the agency should prepare you for the interview and explain how it all works and all that. So I would first recommend asking them directly, because I don't know what agency it is. I don't know anything about the situation you're in. So as I mentioned, it can be fine. Like the fact itself that you will be working for an agency should not be a problem, but then it depends on other circumstances, like what agency it is, if they're like good and solid agency, or if they're known for just getting people here and then selling them somewhere else or whatever, so it's technically might be fine, but it depends on the agency. But just the fact that you will be working for an agency should not be a problem. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining. No more questions there. 23 minutes done. So thank you for joining. Hopefully this was helpful again, and I'll see you again on Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. Bye bye, guys.